Former Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback Arthur Mallett is signing with the Detroit Lions just days after work cut out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mallett failed to make the Houston Texans' final roster when they signed him in training camp. He worked out for the New York Jets in September, but they did not sign him. Mallett was released by the Baltimore Ravens in March after 2 years with the team. He had played as the Ravens' rundown nickel cornerback and specialized as a blitzer, a similar role to his one with the Steelers. Mallett suffered a calf injury in November that landed him on injured reserve and ended his season. All in all, he played in just 3 games this past season due to injuries. In those games, Mallett had just 5 tackles. The Steelers released Mallett after the 2022 season, and he signed with the Ravens that summer, fighting to make their final roster. Mallett played with the Steelers for 2 seasons in a rotation in the slot over his time, and he was primarily used as a blitzer for the team. The former Steelers cornerback has played with the New York Jets, New Orleans Saints, and Indianapolis Colts in addition to the Steelers. Peyton Wilson quietly made history during the Pittsburgh Steelers' Week 4 win over the Minnesota Vikings. On a blown coverage by safety Chuck Clark late in the fourth quarter, Wilson turned on the Jets to track down wide receiver Jordan Addison 81 yards down the field. Wilson's tackle at the 1-yard line forced the Vikings to run 4 more plays and chew another 61 seconds off the clock. The effort by Wilson very well may have saved the game for Pittsburgh. But it wasn't the effort or the tackle that was most impressive. It was the record-setting timed speed Wilson reached in his pursuit of Addison in Week 4. According to Next Gen Stats, Wilson reached a top speed of 22.48 miles per hour on this play. This tracking number instantly broke a record, as Wilson earned the fastest speed ever recorded by a linebacker in the Next Gen Stats era, which began in 2016. However, Wilson's tracking data on this remarkable play not only proves that he's the fastest linebacker in the league. The data suggests that he's one of the fastest players in the NFL, regardless of position. Data shows Pittsburgh Steelers LB Peyton Wilson is one of the fastest players in the NFL on paper since Next Gen Stats started tracking players' top speeds in 2016. Only a handful of players have hit a higher number on the radar gun. Using Next Gen Stats tracking data, Fox Sports published a ranking of the top 10 fastest players in terms of miles per hour on the football field, updated on August 1, 2025. Unsurprisingly, Tyreek Hill earned the top spot on the list, hitting a top speed of 23.24 miles per hour on a kick return touchdown all the way back during the 2016 season. Hill, who's considered one of the fastest players in NFL history, also earned the 3rd spot on the list when he hit 22.77 miles per hour on an 86-yard punt return touchdown in Week 12 of 2016. Claiming the number 2 spot is running back Raheem Mostert, who hit a top speed of 23.09 miles per hour on an 80-yard touchdown run in 2020. Mostert ran a 4.38 40-yard dash at his Purdue Pro Day before entering the NFL in 2015. Mostert also claimed the 4th spot on Fox Sports' list when he hit 22.73 miles per hour on a 76-yard touchdown run. The top speeds ever recorded by Hill and Mostert were followed by Deshaun Jackson, 22.60 in 2016, and Stephon Diggs, 22.50 in 2016. That's where Wilson's time would have slid in 7th place all-time on the list. Wilson's top speed of 22.48 miles per hour narrowly surpasses Xavier Rhodes, who previously held the top speed ever recorded by a non-ball carrier. However, Next Gen Stats data confirms that, in the same Steelers vs. Vikings game in Week 4, speedster defensive back Isaiah Rodgers hit 23.32 miles per hour on the radar gun while tracking down DK Metcalf on his 80-yard touchdown reception, who hit 21.17 miles per hour. Rodgers' lightning speed across the field officially became the fastest timed speed by a player in the Next Gen Stats era, dethroning Tyreek Hill. On an updated list, Rodgers bumps all of the other names down a spot. Additionally, Metcalf reached a top speed of 22.64 miles per hour back in Week 7 of 2020 when he chased down Arizona Cardinals safety Buda Baker on what would have been a pick-six, making the touchdown-saving tackle. So, instead of recording the 7th fastest speed in NFL history, Peyton Wilson might have the ninth fastest speed ever tracked on the football field, regardless of position, though it's possible others slipped through the cracks and didn't make it into the database. Here's what's most fascinating. All of the other names on the top 10 list are wide receivers or cornerbacks, which makes sense. Wilson somehow found his way on the list despite being a 6 feet 4 inches, 240-pound linebacker who, by the way, has reportedly been playing without an ACL in one knee. Let's be clear, for a player to have an opportunity to hit the very top-end speed they are capable of, you need a lot of open field in front of you and a straight line to get the wheels turning. Not every player gets this opportunity. It's also worth noting that next-gen stats mostly tracks the top speeds of ball carriers, and data for non-ball carriers is somewhat limited. Still, this doesn't detract from the awe and wonder we saw from Peyton Wilson back in Week 4 against the Vikings. According to the tracking data, the Pittsburgh Steelers don't just have the fastest linebacker in the NFL, they have one of the fastest players ever clocked, and that's saying something. The receiver position has been a major talking point for the Steelers dating back to well before the start of the current campaign. DK Metcalf has performed well to date, but the matter of depth could prove to be an issue as the season progresses. Pittsburgh was heavily linked to Brandon Ayuk last summer before he ultimately inked a 49ers extension. The Steelers were then close to a Christian Kirk acquisition before the 2024 trade deadline, but his season-ending injury made that a moot point. Once again, it appears the team will be one to watch on the trade front at the receiver position. Mark Kaboly of The Pat McAfee Show fully anticipates the Steelers engaging in conversations about all available wideouts between now and the November 4th trade deadline. Metcalf is under contract for the foreseeable future, but Calvin Austin is attached to the final year of his rookie deal and no new commitment on the team's part is expected at this point. Austin is expected to miss time coming off the bye, although Kaboly adds his injury is not believed to be serious. That should open the door for Roman Wilson to take on an expanded role in the passing game. The 2024 third-rounder was limited to just one game as a rookie, though, and he has recorded only one catch so far in 2025. Per Kaboly, the underlying cause behind Wilson's ineffective performances and low usage rate is unclear at this point. Barring an uptick in his role, the Michigan product could remain a minor figure on offense moving forward. That will especially be true if a trade acquisition is to be made in the near future. Once Pittsburgh had Aaron Rodgers in place, Allen Lazard was named as a potential trade target. No deal was made, but Lazard is a pending free agent attached to a base salary of just $1.75 million thanks to the pay cut agreement he reached with the Jets this offseason. New York sits at 0-5 on the year, and a seller's approach ahead of the deadline is expected. It will be interesting to see if that includes a willingness to move Lazard to a contender. The Steelers' double-in win moved them to 3-1 heading into their bye week. Things could change quickly, but wins against the team's next two opponents, the Browns and Bengals, would solidify Pittsburgh's status as a buyer. General Manager Omar Khan has shown a willingness to be aggressive ahead of the season, which is believed to be the final one of Rodgers' career. It would come as little surprise if, at a minimum, a repeat of last year's Mike Williams acquisition were to take place.